Every time I love that little jaunty tune.
Hey guys, VO Superstar, thank you very much for tuning in. Joined by, of course, my co-anchor, co-host, and cohort in crime, Ryan Spitsky.
Hi.
Hi, I hope I put the right way. No, wrong way, damn it!
Oh, it's a 50-50 shot, man. What can you do?
We are back for another House of Horrors podcast.
Dun, dun, dun. Do you know what?
Do you know what I almost said then? You know what I almost said then, didn't you? Because
Yep. Yeah, not that one.
Not that one. That's Sunday.
Ryan Speaks Geek is no longer affiliated with that show, and
16 people in the chat already. Oh wow! Good evening, everyone. So Joy B1, welcome. You all right, buddy? And we've got Shelley with us as well this evening. Good evening, Shelley. Shelley. Andy Roberts. Good evening, Andy. MCats is in the audience. Thank you, dude. We'll be joined by MCats later on in our interview today about his awesome new movie that's coming out, The Dead and the Lonely. See, I can say it right if I just miss out the Doggerland. We'll get to that in a bit. Stuggy. Good evening, Stugs. How are you doing, bud? And Kane Weatherall is with us as well. And Jack Addison. Guys, welcome one and all to the House of Horrors podcast with me and Ryan, where we are proud to announce something because you guys have kind of wanted it, asked for it, said it. So, Ryan, what are we doing, bud?
Oh, should we go weekly?
Yeah!
Let's go weekly.
So you guys have been kind of messaging me and going, didn't you used to do your own like private thing on every other week what the Ryan was with you? I was like, yes. And then everyone's been like, well, do you want to do that again? I'm like, no, because I do it with Ryan now. And so then why not just do it weekly with Ryan?
Why not? And it's a funny story because Ash went to ask me about it, and I had literally had a conversation with my sisters an hour before going, I think the show could go weekly maybe. And then I got a message from Ash an hour later going, hey, dude, how do you feel about going weekly? I was like, oh, spooky coincidence.
Yeah, great minds. And so it's going to be cool. It means we get to do more and do more different topics and be a bit more topical than what, because like 2 weeks we're kind of late to the news every week. So
yep.
It means
and
we can be
the funny thing is as well, I'll get ripped for being away on holiday more often, obviously, because on a weekly basis I can already think of a couple of dates I can't do. So can't wait to be absolutely ripped to shreds, Shelley. In the comments about like not being here some weeks. Shelley. Shelley gives me a lot of jip, by the way, because on the show we used to be on, I happen to be away on Sundays because most people do things on Sundays. They don't sit there and watch these random nerds on YouTube. So I was out. I was living life. No, I just had really boring engagements. But so I can't wait for that to come up when I can't do a weekly on this. But weekly makes sense because of the amount of horror news there is, the amount of horror stuff we want to talk about, and severely the amount of stuff Ash gets delivered. I think it only makes sense to do a weekly show.
Could you see me shuffling in the background a few things?
I could. I was like, he's getting more deliveries, isn't he? He's in there going, look what I got.
Well, I mean, the first thing to point out is the fact that pumpkin spice latte is back.
Oh, it's me sitting there with my Coke Zero. The only thing spooky is how good it tastes without the sugar. We're not sponsored by Coke. I'm just trying to get some endorsements. If I just start doing it, it will come.
It's a shame when people bow down to corporate sponsors.
Yeah. I myself, people only do it for the money, and that's just really sad. Oh, mate, where do we?
Little bites. It's a taste sensation. Sorry, I just thought that out. The Wayne's World finish stuff.
We need to pick some horror themed snacks, maybe, and then that way we can
little bites are not scary.
Space Invaders, maybe we can do a Mars Attacks episode and be like, oh, Space Invaders, how delicious.
Yeah, these are not scary, but they will give you diabetes very fast.
And that's a very terrifying illness. Diabetes.
However, other than PSL, the Haunted magazine is back on shop floors. Definitely go give this a grab if you're into the paranormal stuff. It's not about movies or anything. It's more of the haunted locations and interviews and basically.
I really thought that was a Lego minifigure on the cover. I won't lie for a second there.
And they have interviews with like all these people that do like these like most haunted style programs, like your Jack Osbournes and your all them kind of people that do all these weird paranormal stuff. But no, it's fun, and I got this one because it's got the house that I visit in Pontefract featured in it this time. So I want to have a read, see what the Americans have written about it.
England's so weird, like, you know, it's crazy because like so many weird things happen there. I think it's because of the Victorians.
There's like a black monk in Pontefract, and he kind of like was hung there. So like he haunts this location.
Oh my god!
Joey B is gonna like murder us in a minute.
Yeah.
There's more than California in the country.
A digital red dot appears. Oh my god! Where's Andy H? Has he been banned?
I don't know where H is.
Or should that be baned? Oh, yes.
I'm not quite sure where he is. I know he's taking a little break from Facebook at the moment. So he has kind of taken a step back from social media, which people do need to do every now and again. So he might be just having a little break this evening. But if he is listening...
You and where have you gone?
But yeah, if we do, you know, we'll just say that we do miss him, and I hope he comes back very, very soon. One thing that did arrive that Ryan's going to be happy to see, the one thing that did turn up. Are you ready to see it, Ryan?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Bring it on. Finally!
He's in the UK. I've got him. So I've got mine on yours. I've got yours over to the side. But yeah, we've got...
It will be mine. Oh, yes. It will be mine.
C1 monster. He's really cool. The new droid, factory droid. You know that now I've got this, within minutes, the new Ahsoka, like, 4-pack's going to get announced. I'm going to have to put another order in.
Is there a 4-pack coming?
No, but it will do. Come on, there's going to be one, isn't there? You've got to think about it. There's going to be...
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen the vintage-style astromech.
It gives them an excuse to do a repack for Chopper, because they've already done the Build-A-Figure for Chopper. So they may as well do the repack Chopper. They'll be able to do the astromech. There's been several droids that they could just slot in, quite a bit, to be honest. And they could give us the what's he called? Huyang.
Yes.
Because he's
yeah, he'll be in there, and then that's new parts they've got.
Yeah. Did everyone see Mexico showed mummified aliens? They look like E.T. Really?
What?
No, I didn't see that, but guess what I did see? Epic hacks. Look at this bad boy that arrived. We got a brand new...
I love the design
Spectre.
of this.
I know, he's so cool. The new Grim
they do look like
Spectre.
E.T. I do love that design. And the other thing is, I love the packaging because it's like really sort of old pulp comics style.
Yeah. Really retro. I really
He's blue, da-ba-dee-da-ba-die.
But that's not all. The last thing to show you before we move on to
but
today's
that's not all.
Oh, because Ryan knows how much I love a good blind bag.
Get rid of this man's eyes because he's all about the blind pack.
And this one is just full. It is a whole box of gashapons.
That's a shop box, isn't it? That's like a delivery box.
Yeah. So I just picked up I like that sealed. That's on the shelf, and it's coming home with me.
How did they even scan that?
They basically went, "How many's in there?" And I went, "I think about 16." And she went, "I'm going to have to check." And pulled them out one by one through the tiny hole.
I thought you were going to say you were like 6, and then she was like, "Okay."
No, that would be my local
super
Smith.
shop hacks.
No, that would be in my Smiths because they are like that in my Smiths. They really don't care.
Yeah, they don't care about it.
At Smiths, they're kind of like, you go to the till and you've got like 50 Legos and they're like, have you got 5 there?
Yes.
Yeah,
that is how we count.
So let me just pop them back and we'll get on with it. Did you pick up anything this week, Ryan, before I move on?
Do you know what? I actually did. For once. I'll show you on set. He went off camera, was never seen again. There we go. Right, I'm back. It's a really silly little thing, and it's actually for my Star Wars display, but it is horror themed. So I got a squeezable dart from Stranger Things, which is obviously I think of Stranger Things as a little bit Halloweeny and a bit horror-y because there's monsters and all sorts. So yeah. It's a squeezable dart from Stranger Things, but it's a really cool monster, and like all the teeth and everything like that. It looks pretty awesome. So he's adorable, but he goes in with the creature menagerie I've got going on in the Star Wars things. I'm like, that could work. But it's weirdly satisfying just to go like
squish.
Like when you find out like one of your favorite horror shows or something isn't being renewed, you can just be like, "Arr!" But thankfully, all mine have.
Shelley said, "Wait, there's more."
Like, wait, there's more.
I've always used that in my videos since I started YouTube. I always use that stupid phrase. I love it. That's my favorite part of the whole film. And the fact that when the Wayans did it were even funnier. This part's a screamer!
Yeah. Do you know what? Weirdly, Scary Movie 1 and 2, even though I have to admit they're not as funny as I found them when I was younger, they're still weirdly staples of like, when I think of Scream, I think of Scary Movie 1 and 2. Even though Scary Movie 2 is based more on like the Haunting a Hill House sort of thing going on. But I still think of Scary Movie 1 and 2. The others I don't talk about. But the... I found 3 funny the first time I watched it, and then I watched it again recently. I was like, oh no. But yeah, the Scary Movie like 1 and 2, especially the first one's so on point a lot of the time, and it's funny because it's a comedy of a parody in some ways, because obviously Scream is meant to be like this love letter sort of parody sort of thing to all this, like the the stab films, like the horror films, like all the slashers. And so to have a comedy film, like a parody film almost of a parody, that's impressive. So I can't wait for the Scary Movie parody that's due out next year. No, Jay.
So I'm not sure if you've ever seen it. I'm hoping you have. I think you probably will have done because you're a big film guy like me. But do you remember the film there was Scary Movie, but then there was also the one with Kelly Kapowski from Saved by the Bell. Scream If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th on Halloween or something stupid it was called. And it was like it was so weird. But I love it.
I had forgotten that existed until you just said, I'll be honest. Wow, what a throwback. What year is it?
That film is really weird. It was the same year as Scary Movie. It came out just after Scary Movie. They were filming them at the same sort of time, which is odd because they're very similar.
You don't get that. Remember when you used to always have like conflicting films like Ants and Bugs Life, The Core, and Deep Impact? Was it Deep Impact and Armageddon? I forget. There always used to be like pairs of films competing that were like of a similar nature. But you don't really get that anymore. But I guess it's because everything's announced 50 billion years in the future.
The last
Disney was like going
that.
Marvel Phase 19,006 was coming out in the year 3002.
The last kind of film that did that was when Disney announced Coco, but then it got delayed. So Universal Cinemas quickly put together that film, The Book of Life. That was the last one that kind of did that. He's a decent film in his own right, to be honest.
It's a great film, and I actually think I prefer The Book of Life in a lot of ways. But I know. Shoot me in the face if you will. But you know what? We got witnesses live. But interestingly, they're 2 completely different stories. They're just both about the sort of Day of the Dead. They're actually not linked in any way. They're not the same story, which is interesting. Cause, like Ants and Bugs Life. They're 2 very, very different films, but they're actually just about a similar subject matter, which is quite interesting. But that's not horror. That's not horror. Although the termites and ants was terrifying. They were. Let's be honest.
But moving on to the stuff that we were going to talk about tonight, did you catch the new trailer for Exorcist Believer?
Mate, I'm so excited. I can't believe I'm saying this now. Which, by the way, the original Exorcist is coming back to the cinemas. I have already booked my ticket.
Me too.
Rock on. So that's going to be really cool. I was hoping they were going to do that because I thought, especially considering this one's like a legacy sequel sort of thing. There's such a big time. There's probably a lot of people who haven't seen the original Exorcist, which I believe is Mark Kermode's favorite film, by the way. Quote me if I'm wrong. But I think such a good move because the new trailer, the funny thing is, you can tell it's a sequel, but it's all like the teasy elements of it. There's bits of it and everything like that, but it feels like it's going to be its very own, it's very much its own film, rather than it being so reliant on the old one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there's some weird bits in that new trailer where he's saying he's looking for Reagan. Can you not find Reagan? Which is weird because obviously something must have happened to Reagan in this film, before the film starts or something. Something must have happened for Reagan's mother to be out doing something. So
sorry, it's this image of Liam Neeson suddenly appearing.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a good movie, and I like the fact that the demons could like taking over 2 children this time. It's like he's learned from the first film, and he's like doing it and going like even bigger this time.
Yeah, it's a bit like
I believe it's meant to be.
Horcruxy as well, isn't it? You know, like
Mm.
a bit of your soul in each one, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely meant to be Pazuzu again, though, isn't it? Because they keep saying the demon. She said in the trailer, the demon knows me, and so it's definitely meant to be Pazuzu again.
One's a zoo and the other's a zoo. Together, Pazuzu, Zuzu. Sorry, I was thinking of Futurama. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a hit as well. I think it's going to do really well. I think it's going to be the horror film of the year in regards to like sort of popularity.
It definitely looks it. And yeah, when I saw it, because it was on. I went to see The Nun last night, The Nun 2, and it was on. Yeah, we'll talk about it later on. But the trailer for Exorcist Believer came on, and on the big screen, it was awesome. The noise that came off of that were amazing.
Can imagine. I'm seeing The Haunting in Venice, which is the Poirot one.
I'm looking forward to
with
that.
with like the horror kind of motif to it. Like it's got a bit of a horror vibe going on, which is not something I thought for Hercule Poirot. But it looks dark, it looks creepy, it looks like there's going to be some good jump scares in there, weirdly. So I'm really hoping the trailer's going to be on before that, because I think like thematically it would work. So because I haven't seen the trailer on the big screen yet, because I'm actually, I know, weird, but I haven't been to cinema in like over a week, which is
wow.
Yeah, look at that. But yeah, but I shoot with that hand.
With the whole move thing, I've been using the cinema as an escape. I'm not gonna lie. It's like we've got a builder coming today, we've got a plumber coming today, and I'm going to the cinema today. Bye.
While you're dealing with that, I'm going to see The Nun.
Yeah, it was a case of my wife went, they're gonna come and put the internet in, so we're not gonna have any internet in the house. And I was like, as soon as she said that, I started getting the shacks. I'm like, no internet.
This man lives
I'm going
online.
To Cineworld.
Just to use their Wi-Fi, and they're like, oh, might as well see a film while I'm here.
But yeah, no, it looks good. And let's have a look. So we do have our first trailer reaction of the evening to have a look at tonight.
Can I first show you these pictures of these aliens, though? Because I know it got brought up in the chat earlier, and I had a look, and it's creepy as hell.
Does this 100%
It does actually
real?
look like ET. I think so. Or is it an art thing? It just says mummified specimens, in hearing which has stirred excitement among UFO enthusiasts. They were found apparently in the city of Cusco, Peru, and are estimated to be 1,000 years old.
Yeah, mummified aliens unveiled to Mexican Congress. Ooh. Why do I have I'm looking at it though, and all I can hear in my head is the words, "It is on Orion's belt."
Oh, I love that. See, Men in Black, non-horror. We got to do an episode where we talk about non-horror films that had scared us as a kid, because I saw that as a kid. That scared me because of the giant cockroach and that will be a subject for another week, I think, maybe. Non-horror films that scared us.
Right, let's jump in. So we've got, I'm just loading it up here. The first one to watch this evening is Pet Sematary Bloodlines. Now,
there's a lot in this franchise, isn't there?
This is something different.
Oh, the old blood splatter there.
Where do you think we should go?
Wherever.
Let's just enjoy.
Wherever the corn isn't, because that's where the children are. If only there was some kind of cemetery for these pets.
What the hell is that?
It's a dog.
An angry dog. I'm the dog.
First place I learned about death was a pet cemetery.
That's why I always talk dramatically. Okay. I'm all about hats. I can get on board.
But come back
That looked like David Duchovny a second ago.
Mm.
Can you hear them
Starring Not 11.
voices?
I think something's wrong with Timmy.
He needs time.
Oh,
It
it
is
is!
David Duchovny.
The people built
The truth is
that
out
temple
there in the field.
to protect them from evil. That's not Timmy. Something's talking through him.
Children of the Maze.
Hell, what have you done? We have to find Timmy.
Timmy
Stop this.
now.
I held him the day he came into this world, and I'm going to hold him the day he goes out.
Okay.
Did he stop making that noise? It sounds like Alien.
Believe me when I say. Sometimes dead is better.
Oh, well, that's a good line. I like that. Yeah, do you know what? I'll give that a watch.
I was hoping that David Duchovny would be the one that says, sometimes dead is better.
I would definitely give it a watch. On because I recently randomly got a year of Paramount Plus through Sky, which is hence why I've been quoting South Park so much, because I've been watching mostly South Park. But so that's good to know that that's coming to Paramount Plus soon.
Yeah, it looks good. So it's a prequel to the remake, I believe, from what I've read, and it looks good. It looks good, and it's going to be on Paramount Plus. It's a TV movie. It looks decent.
Stugs needs more animals. Also needs more cowbell. But
I like the fact that we need a pet cemetery. Oh, there's one here, and there's a shaman just sat there banging on a drum. I'm like, okay.
But I finish at 5. All demon possessions must be completed before the end of the working day. Thank you.
Oh, I need something like that as a voiceover for the haunted house in Ponty. All possessions must be complete by Friday. Thank you. The house is closed. Possessions on the weekends.
Any purchases when possessed by the devil do not count as refundable, as that is technically your body. So that is a legally binding transaction. I don't know why I'm here in England with this voice, but I am. My holiday too.
There's been so many Americans come to that hard house in Ponty. It's so funny.
I haven't been. I kind of like I should go now because it's like
you're
what's
down
gonna
south.
happen? Nothing happens to you, and then I'm gonna go as the South, Southerner, and then I'm gonna die.
Well, let's be honest. You've got the same house just down south. You've got the southern version in Essex, haven't you? You guys have got the Enfield haunting.
Yeah, but thing is,
is literally it's the same story, just up north. It's the same fucking story.
I know, but the thing is about being an Enfield is that you're more likely to get mugged than you are to get haunted.
Yeah, to be fair, up north you're more than likely just gonna get someone offered you a bag of chips and say, "All right, mate." Going down to pub later.
Don't forget me a pickled onion. Stugs, we need Ash and Ryan Mystery Science Theater 5000. Do you know what? I'm not actually adverse to that idea. I could go for a robot mascot. What do you reckon? I'll work on it. I'll try and work on a robot mascot.
It's been a long time since I've seen Mystery Science Theater. Oh my god, that's a blast from the past.
I hope to Kickstarter to get more episodes.
Wow.
I know. I'm that guy. Love a bit of Kickstarter. I actually backed a Halloween board game today.
Nice. Well,
what
we are getting. Obviously, we know this is coming, but the best part is these are going up for pre-order tomorrow. So we're going to see these very, very soon. These are New York Comic Con exclusives. So we've got the I Love New York Ghostface that's not related to Scream in any way, shape, or form. Nope. Even though it's got the stab face and everything. But yeah, coincidental. So Ghostface takes Manhattan.
Cindy, spelled with an S.
This is Ghostface Takes Manhattan, and it will be available to pre-order in the UK tomorrow alongside the Americans for New York Comic Con. And on the same time, we're going to be able to pre-order the glow-in-the-dark retro Phantom of the Opera.
That's my version of the face, is this.
I tell you what, though,
I think it's cool that we're getting a chance to get them, though, at least, because it's like, remember in the old days when you'd see an exclusive like that and you go like, I want that, and then you have to try and message your friends in America to go, can you get this, and then keep it for when I eventually come to America in 4 years. Thanks.
Well, I think you'll like this one, though, because this is like proper, I think, old school and up your street. How about these bad boys? Universal Monsters Pumpkin Pails.
Oh, I want them.
Yeah, that's the other one. Like, I was like, I'm guaranteed Ryan would want these.
Mate, do you know, this is how adulting I know I am now, because, you know, I was just sitting there thinking, like, I could make great plant pots out of those. I think that would look awesome, all right? Get like a cactus growing out of Frankenstein, get some kind of swamp-looking plant coming out of the creature from the Black Lagoon. I think it'd be cool. Oh, do you know, if I did that, if I got the creature of the Black Lagoon and did, like, you know, the pearls that trail down, I could turn it proper emo. I could have, like, emo creature from the Black Lagoon. Tonight will be the night that I will fall for you.
But yeah,
I do love these, though.
Yeah, new pre-order from Trick or Treat Studios. Obviously, this is the end of the line for them. It's the final kind of Universal Monster products they're doing.
God, that sounded as dramatic as it felt. The end of the line.
It's the end. The end is near for the Universal Monster, the Trick or Treat Studios. NECA are making too many products.
Of some kind of quality.
I actually don't mind the NECA stuff. I've been collecting that for years, but yeah, it's just bad to see that no one else can compete. That's the thing which upsets me. Other companies just can't make the figures now because of NECA's licensing.
I think Super 7 still can't they? For the retro, the reaction figures, or is that still a grey area?
Super 7 can, as long as it's a 3¾ inch only. That's why they've been making figures that aren't technically Universal Monsters, but still fall under the old school monster licensing. So like Nosferatu, Metaluna Mutant. They're making those ones, the ones that aren't technically Universal Monsters, but still retro enough to fit in with them.
Is there actually a definitive list of the Universal Monsters?
Yes.
Because I kind of feel like it's a bit of a grey area with some of them. Like when you said like Metaluna Mutant, I kind of still always associate with with Universal Monsters, but then I'm thinking about it, and what is the core? It's got to be Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Mummy, Dracula, Creature, Phantom. Wolfman.
It goes from 1931 through 1956. You have Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy, the Black Cat, the Werewolf of London, the Raven, Dracula's daughter, son of Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, Mummy's Hand, the Wolfman, the Ghost of Frankenstein, Invisible Agent, Mummy's Tomb, Phantom of the Opera, the Captive Wild Woman, Son of Dracula, the Mad Ghoul, the Invisible Man's Revenge, the Mummy's Ghost, House of Dracula, the She-Wolf of London, Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein, Creature of the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, and finally, The Creature Walks Among Us.
I think The Creature of the Black Lagoon is an interesting little franchise. It evolves a lot over 3 films, and so does the design. And I think it is never beaten as it was in the original, personally.
Yes, though those are the original Universal Monsters. Metaluna Monster technically isn't a Universal Monster because it's not Universal products.
Is it? Oh,
it's not Universal Picture. Same as how Nosferatu technically isn't a Universal Picture.
I knew that one, but I really thought Metaluna Mutant was. I mean, I'm not complaining because if it means there's more available merch, then it's not been swallowed up by that Universal Monster license. Then I can get on board with that.
But I love the fact that the Super 7 make that series of products called The Worst.
Yeah, I love that series.
Yes, you've got like Bachelor instead of Dracula, and like there's a skeleton Captain Pirate, and there's some really weird ones, and they're really fun. Them ones.
I do need to see what is the film where the kids team up with all the monsters.
Are you saying you've not seen Monster Squad?
That's it. No, I have seen it. I mean, not since I was younger, and it's on my rewatch list. I watched that on a sleepover on VHS. That's the last time I watched it.
It's probably the worst interpretation of the Universal Monsters, but it's the fact that it's a good Halloween kind of like you could get away with watching it with kids. Yeah, I'm strange. On the run up to Halloween, I'll watch all the scary stuff and I'll really enjoy it. Halloween night, when I'm sat there and I've got my sweets, and for some reason I fall into that. I'm not on Halloween night itself. I prefer like Hocus Pocus and those kind of films. Like, and then once Lynn goes to bed, I'll put like Sam on and I'll enjoy Sam before I go to sleep. But
yeah,
no, I enjoy the more rompy stuff, the more geeky, rompy kind of Halloweeny cheese. Like ever since Netflix introduced, is it Boo Hollow? Oh, that's the thing I've got behind me. What's that one called that's got the weigh-in in it? It was got weigh-ins in it.
Oh,
there was that one that was about Halloween about a year ago, and then they also did,
I don't know.
I don't know, but then they also did Who Be Halloween with Adam Sandler, and I freaking love that movie.
So, Who Be Halloween?
Have you not seen Who Be Halloween?
No, I've got no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my god, Adam Sandler made a Halloween movie for Netflix, and it's got like all of the usual cast of people that hang out with Adam Sandler in it.
Kevin James.
yeah, literally, and it's got all of his friends in it because he obviously did it on the cheap for him, and he's a bit like his Waterboy character. He's a bit like the social reject, and every Halloween he takes it upon himself to be the warden of Halloween to make sure the kids are safe.
Amazing.
And he talks like this all the way through it, like little Nicky.
I do lots of cutie things, and then I get very angry.
He carries a thermos, which throughout the film changes its purpose. So, like at the very beginning, he's like drinking his coffee out of it, and then kids throw eggs at him, and he catches all the eggs in it, shakes it, and goes, "Protein, like Rocky," and drinks it. But then, like about 10 minutes later, it turns into a little mini Hoover, and he hoovers up glass with it and stuff like that.
So he's got a magic thermos. This is the weirdest sales pitch.
He's got like a grapple in it and everything. I want his little thermos. And no, it's just a fun little stupid film, but it's ace.
Did you actually say a grappling hook?
He's got yeah. So like, there's a bit where he fires this little grappling hook out of it and everything.
Are you sure it's not like Inspector Gadget? Because it sounds like Inspector Gadget.
Oh god, imagine Adam Sandler's Inspector Gadget. Jesus. He's bad man.
Go legs. I am Mr. Golden Age. Hello.
You can inspect my gadget.
All right, giggity, go.
Lost it. I've lost it. Right. Okay.
I am Mr. Golden Age says hello, and that's how you welcome him to the show.
Giggity.
All right.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
This is getting derailed fast. Where we going? We don't need roads. Goosebumps. Goosebumps is coming back.
Long.
I know. And I've realized what I've done. Hang on. Give me a sec. I'm not using bloody
feelings about.
I'm not using bloody disgusting to get all my news, honestly.
I've got mixed feelings about this Goosebumps series. I hope it's good, but the reason I've got mixed feelings is because I like the Goosebumps films, like they're their own thing, but the Goosebumps series is such a thing in my childhood, and it's actually so brilliantly bad it's good. And it's like the other things I don't. This isn't going to have Canadians pretending to be Americans. Like, do you know? It's like somewhere in Pennsylvania, and it's like the kids come out and go, "Oh, get out of my house." And it's like there was such a charm to it. And the funny thing is, some of the ones I found scary as a kid, I look now and I go like, "How was that scary?" But then you look at it through a kid's eyes, and I can see why. Because I still read the books. I still love the books. But yeah, it just I don't know. I just hope it's good, and it's like I don't know. I don't know what to expect from it. I feel like I need to see more from it before I can make a judgment. But I am nervous. I'm cautious. That's the way I put it.
Okay. Well, I think we might be able to put you at ease a little bit in a minute, because we have got a short trailer.
Oh, okay.
They have released a slight little teaser.
Is Ryan Gosling reprising his character from Say Cheese and Die?
No.
Oh, what a waste.
No, it's not actually related to anything. So it's not related to the original Goosebumps. It's not related to the movies. It's not an anthology series. It's a continuational series. So it's
like
it's
David
its
S.
own new
Pimpkins,
thing.
it's its own thing.
Yeah, but it has got Slappy in it because obviously this new trailer, this new poster I'm showing you, the redesigned Slappy for a new generation. So we know that
So
he's
now it
going to
comes
be
with
in
batteries.
it. More than likely. Yeah, so we have got a redesign of the original character, and it looks like blood coming out of his mouth, maybe, I don't know, or is that just where the jawline is, maybe? Either way,
what's the target audience though? Like, is it the people who grew up with Goosebumps, or is it like new audience for Goosebumps?
You'll kind of see from the trailer where they're kind of going with it. But it looks decent. I mean, I wouldn't show it to my daughter, let's put it that way. Let me show you the trailer. Let's see the trailer.
Yeah, bring it.
Oh, my stutter kicked in like hell then. Yeah.
As long as you get me spinach. Sorry. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, I'm going to hell.
So this trailer doesn't show you much about the TV like thing, but it shows you the characters, and it's called Don't Blink. So here we go.
What's that?
You're better off staying far away from this.
Okay.
So yeah, it was only quick, but you see, it's like a teenagers kind of thing, isn't it? A teenage audience, I would say. I wouldn't show my daughter that in 1,000 years, but
no, I'm still cautious. That was enjoyable, as brief as it was. That's what she said. But I think I'll still be cautiously optimistic about it. Like, it could be really good fun. But Goosebumps is a very protected thing for me. It's a sacred childhood thing for me. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I'm in the same boat. I have a lot of childhood memories, especially when I was a kid growing up. We had Fox Kids. I was lucky enough to have it.
Yeah.
And every Halloween they would put like Goosebumps on for the day. It would be an anthology of Goosebumps.
And Erie, Indiana. Stuggs, you're right. Erie, Indiana was the other one.
Oh god, Erie, Indiana was awesome. And I'm Afraid of the Dark. I love that as well.
Oh my god, there were so many good things.
But what I like about Goosebumps is R.L. Stine took a lot of influence from actual horror films and then just kind of toned them down for kids. So, like, you had films like Slappy the Dummy, which was basically Chucky.
And then you had the Monster Blood, which was basically the Blob.
Yeah. They were all based on classic monster films. So, like Phantom of the Opera, they had Phantom of the Auditorium. Exactly the same thing. True. And the only thing that was kind of like...
was kind of like Final Destination in a weird way, even though it was ahead of its time, I think.
Yeah. So there's some really cool ones in there that kind of do give you that classic B-movie kind of monster feels, really.
I wonder if he'll make a cameo, old R.L. Stine.
That would be cool to see him in it.
Because he did in the film, didn't he? He at the end of the high school, if I remember correctly.
Yep, he did. Right. Moving on up. Did you see Blumhouse's cool little thing this week?
9.
Ooh, I have to show you this then. So Blumhouse basically put a campaign together this week saying, who's going to be Blumhouse's next killer. And
interesting.
They made loads of little shorts all week long, basically teasing who were going to be the next slasher. And then they eventually showed this trailer off, and it looks awesome. So, give me a second to get it up. Here we go. That sounded wrong.
It did on so many levels.
Who's the next Blumhouse slasher?
Happy Halloween.
It's her, isn't it?
Oh my god.
Not him.
Oh my god.
Not him. Nope. 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 Nope.
Okay. Ah, suggested like a boss.
Like a boss.
Okay. It's like Max Headroom became a horror icon.
It is. It's very weird, isn't it? Everyone's been
There'll be
saying
people who
Johnny
don't know
Bravo
who Max
online.
Headroom is. Oh, so
I do. It was that was
the
that
generational
viral thing.
difference, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, well, they got the viral thing. Yeah, Max Headroom was a proper character in the 80s. Also popularized for more modern audiences, in Back to the Future 2, when he goes to the future. In Cafe 80s, he's one of the electronic things. You used to have this whole thing with stuttering and stuff like that, but that mask freakily like Max Headroom.
It does. But yeah, everyone online was like, Johnny Bravo's the new killer. Yeah, it looks good. I'm intrigued by that. It looks
Very
like it could be
intrigued.
a lot like, it looks very much a lot like Happy Death Day, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I still haven't seen those.
Valentine vibes as well.
Yeah,
It
okay,
seems
that
like
one I
one of
could
those
definitely
like, seems like one of those like, you know, it's the founder of the holiday to make a killer with Sweet 16 is the newest one. I'm waiting for the Mexican version with the quinceañera. just Danny Trejo.
murder.
Just
Bar
Danny
mitzvah
Trejo.
murder.
Just Danny Trejo just turns up with a box. Happy Sweet 16.
And he'd do it because, you know, he would do anything.
He just turned up in his machete costume.
Even if he wasn't cast, he would just turn up.
Oh,
That's an interesting take on it. The funny thing is, so seeing the Freaky, you know, the butcher from Freaky, like Freaky Friday, that was originally meant to be called Freaky Friday the 13th. You know, the one with Vince Vaughn.
Yeah.
And they did a name change last minute, which is a shame because I think Freaky Friday the 13th sounded really cool.
Me too. But some other news stories to kind of run through, just kind of rattle them off. The Eddie Izzard film Dr. Jekyll is a Hammer horror movie now. It's been picked up by Hammer, and that will be coming to UK cinemas for Halloween. So we should expect a release date very soon for that one. Awesome. Final Destination 6, Tony Todd will return.
Okay.
That was kind of announced this week, so I'm up for that. One maybe
that
I
try and tie it, or just make it its own thing, or if they'll try and tie it to everything else, or because they did try and I think they did say like 5 was going to be like where they really did draw the line, and I don't think anyone's still alive.
Death comes for everyone eventually. So
That's true.
They'll just make a whole new bunch of stuff for them to kill.
I basically suggest what I reckon that is that's one of the producers has gone, we can't do another Final Destination. Someone's walked around for an hour, gone, I have found 8 things that will kill us in this office, so let's do it.
In keeping with the sort of like kids horror stuff that's going on, Haunted Mansion will be streaming on Disney Plus on October 4th, and a sequel to Universal Paramount Plus's Monster High 2 will be getting a sequel this Halloween as well. If you're into that High School Musical randomness,
if that's what you're into.
But we do have a few things to talk about. Before we do have a interview to show you guys. We didn't get to interview the director behind the film Dead and Lonely. The Dead and the Lonely. The Dead and the Lonely. And
say the rest of it.
No, Doggerland. It's called Doggerland.
Yeah,
and
just
that,
before
every
we
time
went,
go.
I was say just before we went recording, Ash actually said to the very lovely director, he actually did say the words Doggingland.
Yes, I did.
So
I got it totally wrong.
Yep, that was a very different movie, Mr. Sorrel.
That's the one I watched when I'm on my own. Let's go down. Oh, nope. Anyway, guys, enjoy this interview. It's a lot of fun. Let's do this.
I don't know, I'm just slow motion on the freeze frame with the thumb then.
Oh. So, Ryan, we've got a special guest. You would do that. So, Ryan, we've got a special guest with us this evening. We've got Adam McHattie from the new film Doggerland. The the new
You can do
zombie
it.
kind of. I know I'm getting there. The new zombie kind of movie is coming out, but I believe it's not zombies. And we're going to bring Adam on to tell us more about it. Adam, welcome to the chat.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Bonjour.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, we're just saying there about the film, and it's a zombie movie because it's a zombie special that we're doing this week on the podcast. But these aren't the regular run-of-the-mill zombies. I believe you've got your own take on what you're doing with them. They're not officially zombies from what I've read.
No. So, for all intensive purposes, they are infected. But the one thing that I really wanted to make different, and that people can kind of like latch onto, is that whenever you watch a zombie film, as soon as they turn undead, like they're just cannon fodder. And so I've always been like, well, they were human, and I'd really like to explore that a bit more. So in our film, they are highly infectious. They're contagious. You go anywhere near them, you don't even need to be touched or scratched. You're infected. So it's very contagious, highly infectious, and you essentially just start rotting. It's basically like hyper leprosy, but you're still alive. So when you go near people, they're like, "Oh my god, I really want to help you," but there's this sort of a tragic nature to them. They've still got like their souls in them until they die. So they're not the undead. They don't consume flesh, but they're just highly, highly infectious. Almost like that film, It Comes at Night. Yeah, very much like that. So like they've still got a soul. They're still, they're tragic figures almost. But they're you don't want to go near them.
That's interesting because normally, like when you have like a zombie film, the thing that people try and add like the drama and like the tragedy to the other human characters, like the difference in survivors. Like you get your survivors that are out for themselves, survivors that turn to like cannibalism weirdly and stuff like that. But I don't think I've really seen many projects where it's humanizing almost the villains effectively of the piece, like of the film. That's gonna be really cool to see. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, thank you very much. I mean, so the first lurker that we've got is a guy called Dave Darko, who helped out and was on your podcast for Werewolf Santa.
Oh yeah, we know Dave.
So basically, we got him to do the zombie makeup, and he did a phenomenal job. And he's basically the first lurker that you see in the project, in the film. And he was so into it. I was like, yeah, just imagine you got sores all over you, in your eyes, your tongue, you can't really talk, on your feet. He was like, yeah, I got you. Yeah, it did a take. I was like, oh, make it a little bit more tragic. And he knew how to do it. So it was, it was incredible to work with him. Yeah.
Yeah,
awesome.
Dave's
I understand you're really here because you want to recruit Super Sora and me to be in the film. It's fine. You don't have to be so kind of casual about it. You can just ask us. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm joking. Brother.
I'm gonna do the same plug I did in the last two interviews, which is if you need a legless zombie, I'm your guy.
Oh, perfect. You know what? I've got a role ready for you.
Yes.
But no, we'd love to have you. Love to have you. We need like as much help as we can, as many extras, because in the third act, there's a lot of them. So,
well, you know what? Actually, I might take you up on it. I'm only up the road, so
you're actually in the area, right? The film's set down your way. Burnham on Crouch is where it's set. From the trailer. So that's like a big part of the trailer is saying that it is like set in Burnham on Crouch. And
it's basically like where me and the main actor Matt Martin like grew up. So we've always had an affinity for the town. We've always been like, it's so weird. We need to shoot something here. Really set it in the town. So it's basically, it's set in Burnham on Crouch. It's going to have locations from around the local area. In the trailer, it's basically all Burnham on Crouch or just like 5 minutes outside of town. So it's a real sort of like, this is a community project. We want to kind of, Burnham gave us our best memories as kids, just getting up to mischief. So we want to try and pay it back however we can.
With the film that's got mischief in it.
Basically.
It's the other thing I noticed from the trailer is like the almost like diary type format to it. Which I thought was a really cool way of doing it, because it's not just a voiceover, it's kind of like a personal record, which I thought was like a really interesting way of writing. There was a good book series called Day by Day by J.L. Bourne, which is a zombie series. And the only other ones and that's normally done, I think, until like the last book, it's done as like a diary entry. And the first thing I thought was like, I wish someone would make a film in this style. And I started listening to it like 2 years ago. So when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, this is actually almost how I imagined that kind of to work. So that was really cool to see.
Oh, okay. So would you say it was Day by Day?
Day by Day by J.L. Bourne. I had to double check. Although I was really lazy, though, I listened to it on Audible. That I'm not sponsored by Audible, by the way. Unless
That's
Audible,
fine.
you know, listening. Let's do it.
Oh yeah. Give us a sponsor.
Yeah, sponsor the film. We'll do an audiobook cover version and everything.
It's all good.
But,
I mean,
yeah.
I've said that I've read like Terry Pratchett. I've basically just listened to them, so you know, there's no shame in it.
And I saw as well that on the on the fundraiser page and stuff like that, it says that that if you go visit Rio Cinema in Burnham on Crouch, you can catch the trailer on the big screen. I mean, how cool is that to see the show on the big screen as well?
Oh, I will tell you that almost brought a tear to my eye because this local cinema, it's great. Imagine basically someone just got hold of a building and put up a screen, and then all the chairs are from like the 1940s. It's old leather couches. It's super cheap, and it's just where I spent like a lot of my childhood. Like I saw Saving Private Ryan there, Judge Dredd, like Billy Elliot, like so many films from my childhood I saw at the Rio. So to see the trailer that we've been working on like pretty hard just up there in front of Barbie and Oppenheimer was kind of very strange. That's all I can say. Like, yeah, but brilliant though. I mean, it looks great, and they really helped us out. So if there's anyone in Burnham, go support the Rio Cinema. It's brilliant.
They love the Rio. It's the funny thing you're saying about that, because Burnham on Crouch is one of those really, especially in Essex, it's really unique. So I can see, obviously, I know you've got the childhood attachment to it, but I can see the merit of like just for kind of like an apocalyptic element to it, like because there's so many sort of big, vast spaces, which is really unusual in Essex because you know we love to put a car park or a Costa in something. So it's really unusual, like landscape as well. It's not one of the only places in Essex where it's not that flat. There's like big flats, but then there's actually quite a lot of like ups and downs.
yeah. I mean, especially around like the seawall, it's almost like swamps and things like that. It's definitely like a landscape that Matt's and I have kind of like fully fallen in love with. So we were like, we have to film something here. And it took us about 17 years to figure out what that was. But yeah, just it's a very unusual landscape, just very strange. There's a lot of, like you said, a lot of flat landscapes. And we did like a Western a few years ago because it was so flat as far as you could see. It was like, well, we could just film it in summer. It looks like a Western. So, that's what we did. And yeah, it's just such a strange place. I mean, I love it. I should be promoting it, but it is a strange place.
Is it, did you find it difficult? Like, are you saying like, obviously like in a swampy area? Because obviously you don't have like the backing of like a big studio and everything. So everything you guys got to work out for yourselves. Have you found it challenging to sort of try and film in like, it's all well and good knowing the area when you're growing up, but have you found it actually helped you filming? Because obviously a lot of the terrain, it's got to be hard to be able to get a good shot sometimes when you're sitting there going, okay, the shot's sinking and so am I.
yeah. So the first couple of shots in the trailer, that is essentially about half an hour's walk from like the furthest place you can park the car. But I mean, I've been working on sort of large studio features for the last about 12 years or so. So I've had that kind of practice being like, okay, right, we need a mag liner, we need like a couple of people to help out to carry all the equipment. So I'm fairly used to it. But yeah, those first couple of shots, we waited almost 3 hours because I was like, no, the clouds aren't right. No, leave it. Just give it a sec. All right, the clouds are there. Go. So yeah, it was a challenge in itself, but it was much more like patience and then be like, okay, this is the first shot. And then kind of, explaining why we're waiting for a couple of hours for the clouds to come back over. To be like, no, it's got to match. It's got to match, So yeah, no, it's an interesting challenge, but it is what it is.
Yeah, from what I've found from speaking to, because we've been like going through a lot of indie creators, things like that, because that's kind of what we're into when we like with our own sort of like horror influences. We like the more self-made stuff, especially stuff from Britain, to support that our local sort of scene. But do you find like, because I can imagine like you always hear about big studios asking companies to refilm, reshoot, do this, do that. It must be nice when you're the writer director and it's an indie film and you can do what you want. Basically, it's your film. Go do it.
You know what?
That freedom must be nice. Is what I'm trying to get across.
Yeah. I mean, it is a blessing and a curse
Mm.
because we can kind of go, okay, well, maybe we need to rewrite this scene, so let's just kind of like hash that out together today rather than go film this one shot. But there are times when you film something, you're like, no, the angle isn't quite right. Do we have to go do this? And so it's a kind of like, it's a blessing and a curse. So you can kind of take your time with a lot of different shots, and you can kind of rewrite it and go, okay, well, maybe your character does this now, and it's great. But when you look at the footage and you're like, oh, the lighting isn't just right on that, and you know it's not right. Unfortunately, you're harder on yourself than anyone else is going to be, and you're going to notice things that no one else is going to notice. You're like, oh no, his shoelace is untied in that one. Oh, we got to do the entire thing again. So it's a blessing and a curse. But you know, with the strikes happening at the moment, it's it's given us more time to kind of just do what we want and to actually kind of get people that are really good at their job, but just don't have the work at the moment. So
exactly, I think now is the time as well to strike with indie movies and stuff, because obviously, like you say, the strikes are on out in America, and the big studios aren't able to get stuff out, and companies like your Amazon, your Netflix are going to be starving for content very soon, I imagine. And we'll be looking for indie films to pop on, which they do put a lot on anyway on Amazon Prime and stuff like that. There's always some smaller movie on there to watch. So I mean, hopefully you guys can get this recorded, get it done, and get this out there for people.
Oh yeah,
Shudder,
absolutely.
Shudder, you're listening. This would be a good one for you.
hey, Shudder, I already have a subscription.
We all do. It's a three-way tie now.
Yeah. How come every time I watch something on Shudder though, Ryan, it's always in Spanish? Why do I keep choosing Spanish films? I don't realize they're Spanish.
I don't know. Why do you keep doing that? We've been through this. Read the synopsis.
For Adam, every episode of the podcast, we both choose a movie that we have to watch for the next podcast, and we're basically going through the Shudder originals. And so far, I don't think I've chosen one film in English yet. Everyone I seem to choose ends up being in some foreign language.
Oh, but those are the best ones. You got to guess what's happening. Just like switch the subtitles off.
Do you know? There was one of them where even with subtitles, a help me guide, and a full list of exactly what happened scene by scene and storyboards, I still don't think I would have been able to tell what happened in it. Except for there was a clatophone and it screamed at the TV, and I was just like, that is confirmed my theory that the clatophone was the most terrifying childhood toy of all time.
I think that's what filmmakers call avant-garde, or at least that's what they say it is. So it's like, no, they mess it up real bad.
No, what was the name of that film, Ryan?
Oh, I don't even remember, because it's
got a DVD release and everything. It's so weird.
But no one could say it, because we said about it, and even someone in the comments said, "Don't watch." It's like, you literally watch us to watch things. So and they were telling us not to watch it. We didn't listen, Adam. We didn't listen.
But sometimes you gotta be like, no, I will watch this out of spite.
There aren't many films I actually haven't managed to finish, but that was one that was close to not.
Yeah. As a little segue, I mean, like, we're talking about kind of like our influences and sort of movies and stuff. I mean, what about yourself? What kind of movies influence you with this movie?
So this one, it was very much essentially The Road, but I wanted to do Taika Waititi directing The Road. So I read like a few like post-apocalyptic things, and trying to find out like what the main kind of like archetypes are. It's like, there's always a bunch of cannibals, and they're always on a massive road trip. So I was like, okay, it could be a road trip movie. That's great. We've got the flatlands, we've got the locations. That's perfect. So it was very much like, okay, how can I take these archetypes and just kind of switch them on their head a little bit?
Yeah.
So the film starts off a bit like The Road, but there's a few gags here and there. But then when the main character meets another person, he does the impossible. He actually starts to trust someone, actually like makes a friend in the post-apocalypse. So with all these post-apocalypse things, that's like, oh no, you don't trust anyone. They're like there to eat you or like to rob you. And it was like, well, let's kind of have like a heartwarming film just set in the post-apocalypse. So
so dash of hope.
Yeah, just a little bit. In the sequel, we'll ruin it all and take it all away. But yeah, The Road, and I guess things like zombie flesh eaters for some like the makeup design. And yeah, I guess that's the main one. that was like, okay, let's do
I
that.
love that film.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I'm
knew
not
nothing
gonna...
about that guy and seen that.
Oh, that must have been horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to share the image on the thing or anything, but Dave did send me a little sneak at the zombie makeup, and oh my god, it looks good.
Oh yeah, he's phenomenal. Yeah.
So I do figure photography and kind of doing reviews and things on YouTube, and I had no idea that Dave was into this stuff, but he basically designed all the backdrop pieces I use for all my reviews. He basically designed like my Star Wars backdrop, and he made all these. He physically built all these things. And for years, I'm like, he's just really talented at this stuff. And then one day, he's like, you know, he does special effects for a living. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Like, where did that come from?
It's like, yeah, I've known you for years. You haven't told me this now.
Mate, you gotta keep something back.
Yeah. Just like, I've got a friendship for about 10 years. I'll dole little bits of information out. But yeah, Dave is just incredible. Like, I went round to his house for the first time a little earlier this month, back in August, and just seeing all of his figurines, just been like, I'm so jealous. Like, I want all of this.
So the film, obviously, is by MCH Entertainment, which is yourself, I believe. Is it your studio, private studio?
Yes. So it is co-owned by myself and Becca Rhymes. I'm the head of production, and she is the head of operations. So she very much deals with the clients, and she's brilliant at that. I'm very much, I'll just go behind the camera and just make it work. You do everything else. So so we've been essentially been a business since February, and we've already had a few clients, and so we're just trying to get more music videos, social media stuff, and this is our first short film as a company together. And you know what, without Becca Rhymes, it never would have happened. We'd be still sitting around in the lounge, be like, oh, what about this scene? Oh, that could be interesting. Yeah. And then never do it. Whereas Becca's very much, being the head of operations, like, we need to go. Like, come on, stop pondering. Just make something. So MCH Entertainment's been a company since February, and we're just slowly building up business.
Yeah, and obviously the film is on a GoFundMe right now. You're looking for a little bit of extra funding to help film the middle and the end of the movie, I think you said. And what other things will people's money go into, like, help doing?
So let me bring up the spreadsheet. So that will
Man's
be
got a spreadsheet. He's organized.
Oh yeah. So it's essentially 15 members of crew, which is essentially, I mean, if we make it over our budget, we're going to do actually pay people. But at the moment, we can only do expenses, which sucks. It sucks. But as a first little kind of short film, it's like, okay, I can kind of get away with it.
Yeah.
But then it's costume design, makeup, props, locations, special effects, camera packages, lighting packages, and then a lot of post-production workflow and archiving, like getting all the data to LTO tapes. So for the first act, we've already shot about 4.25 terabytes worth of information. Wow. So so it's a lot. So to essentially get all of the data, we have to go to LTO tape. We have to speak to Technicolor or Cinelab or Delane Lee over at Leavesden to kind of help us out. But that's essentially what I did on feature films, is sort of Daly's lab operating on Rogue One and Marvel films. So I'd essentially process the footage, so I know the kind of the workflows, so I can reduce costs there. But a lot of it is accommodation and feeding the crew and paying their expenses, which you don't think is going to be a lot until you start adding it all up. And then it's like, oh, that's like $3,000 just by itself. Okay. I need more money. So it's been a bit of a shocker. But it's one of those things. It's with the strike's happening at the moment. I thought I was going to be going back to work in mid-September, October, get some more money to fully invest into this film and just pay for it myself. But with strikes, and from what I'm hearing, it's not going to be until the end of the year till everyone's back, which it sucks. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to use this time. I can't fully fund it. I can definitely put in like half of the budget, but I definitely need the other half to be crowdfunded. And it's, you know, just good exercise to kind of like be like, okay, how do I fund a film? What's going on? So yeah.
So people,
It's
there's
good
a
as well 'cause
link.
it allows people to be involved as well, feel like they're part of it.
Exactly. It's a real like community project for Burnham and the local area. Just kind of like, hey, like, get involved, help us out however you can. You know, if you've got a spare room, so we don't have to spend money on accommodation, or if you're a local business, you can help us like feed the crew for a meal. So we spent, I think it was last week, going around to every single business, being like, hey, you know, you might not have any money, but do you mind feeding like 15 people for lunch or something one day when we start going? And they were like, yeah. So we've got a lot of like costs going down. And yeah, it's just a real community project. A lot of people have seen it in the Rio and been like, oh, when you said a film shot in Burnham, we thought it was going to look rubbish. But as soon as they see that first shot that we spent 4 hours on, you know, they're like, oh, okay, it looks all right, you know, so I'll give a bit of money.
That's awesome. And guys, there's a link in the description if you can go check it out for me. That links you straight into the GoFundMe for The Dead and the Lonely, the new short film. It looks awesome. I messed up the other name that it goes by, and I'm not going to say it again in case I mess it up again. But yeah, The Dead and the Lonely. You'll see what I mean when you click the link, people. But yeah, they're looking for you know, some money to help out. So if we can help out in any way as a community, as a horror community, please go and check this out. It's a UK production. Let's support the little guy in the UK. So thank you very much, Adam. I do appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you so much for your help, guys. Thank you. And thank you for having me on. It's been, just awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And I'll definitely try and sneak in as a dead guy, I think, because I've been in a rubbish horror film. It'd be nice to be in a good one.
Yeah,
So,
right. Ryan's already been in a film.
Consider it done.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get it done.
Oh, Ryan, don't. I'll send him your DVD. Don't do it. You know that me and the audience will do it, mate.
It was a long time ago.
Send the DVD. I need to see it now.
You do. You really do. Thank you very much, Adam. We'll speak to you soon.
Right, take it easy, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Ooh, got myself a little film roll, maybe.
I was just laughing because I'm wearing the exact same shirt I was wearing that when we recorded that. It's like I don't own any other clothes.
Anything different, more different. Yeah. I've got like a skeleton going on.
It's like I don't own any other clothes. Like the same 6 t-shirts on rotation.
You're like a Simpsons character. You only have like a set number of outfits.
Or it's like South Park when you open my wardrobe out, they're all the same.
What a nice guy, and what a great project. Like, genuinely, like, the nicest guy, a really interesting project. So again, like, if anyone's up for it, like, even if it's just a couple of quid or something like that, you know, get involved. I think it's nice to try and support those sort of local projects. And just those lower budget projects, well, because that's where the hidden gems come from. You got to remember, Paranormal Activity, what's the other one? Blair Witch Project. You know, these were all sort of self-funded and very small films, and they turned out to be amazing. So there are hidden gems out there. We just got to make sure we support them.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a new take on the zombie franchise. He's not calling them zombies. He's got his own sort of interpretation, and yeah, it's a very cool looking film, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a bit of like with 28 Days Later, but I suppose we'll get onto that when we talk about our last subject.
Yeah. But before we do get onto that little subject, we do have a couple more little things that I want to share with you guys this evening. One of them is that the Chamber of Horrors is coming to WWE's YouTube this Halloween season. We've got Shotzi and Scarlett Bordeaux, two of the WWE divas, and they are going ghost hunting. Over the last year, they've gone to loads of haunted locations around America and filmed a ghost hunting sort of TV series that will be featured on YouTube. And if you're not familiar with Shotzi, check out her YouTube channel. She's a massive, massive horror fan. And like, she just recently went out to Universal Horror Nights and was invited by Universal. She's a proper horror fan. And I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
Featuring John Cena as the Invisible Man, surely.
Is that what you were laughing at in the background? I was.
That's good help myself.
I was there thinking he's good. I thought you were laughing at the fact that I was like really getting into this whole WWE Divas thing. Like,
well, that's a whole nother story, isn't it?
Nope, there's a joke there. I'm leaving it. There's a joke there, but I'm leaving it alone. Yep, nope. And believe it or not, this is Tigger. Oh yes, Blood and Honey 2 released a image teaser of Tigger. Now, the reason Tigger wasn't in the original movie is because he wasn't actually in the public domain at the time. Only the original 4 characters were in public domain. The others came later in future books. So Tigger is the next character that has dropped into the public domain, so they can now use him.
Do you know what? I still haven't been contacted about doing the Winnie the Pooh voice. It's mad. There's a golden opportunity there.
Tigger looks
Sadly.
very angry. It's a very angry Tigger. This Tigger will rip your throat out if you don't bounce, bounce, bounce.
Well, sadly, our friend Craig David Dowsett's not in the film. There's somebody different in the Winnie the Pooh suit this time round.
Oh man!
So, I know. I was gutted when I read the thing. He's not in the listing, sadly. So I'm not sure what's happened there. But we are going to get
Did such
Tigger.
a good job in the first one.
I know. Which is the annoying part. Because he was such a nice guy as well when we had him on. It was so cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to see him again anyway. We're going to meet up with him at the Comic-Con in November. I'm looking forward to that. But there's not too much known about the film quite yet, other than this teaser image and Winnie the Pooh slightly different this time around. Did you see the Winnie the Pooh image?
No.
Oh, let me show you the Winnie the Pooh image. So Winnie the Pooh looks slightly different. I'm not sure if this is meant to be a prequel, maybe. I don't know. Because he's a lot skinnier. Check that out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Or
He's a lot
on the
different
fence.
this time around.
On the fence. I don't know if that's my loyalty to Craig or like, but the thing is though, because Pooh is like a dumpy bear, like that's the. So I would think he would grow up to be a big bear.
This is the thing. I hope they don't mess it up because they've basically this time around they've got a budget. Last time they didn't have a budget. It was just a local independent movie that just managed to captivate the audience because of what it was. Became, we all talked about it on the other podcast when it first got announced because of what it was. It's Winnie the Pooh. It was the first of the new line of horror movies kind of using children's franchises. So it kind of hit big. This time round, it's got a proper budget and it's in a proper studio and stuff. So I hope they don't mess it up by, introducing new characters, recastings. They should have just kept it with the same actors, I think.
Agreed. It's a crying shame, genuinely. I'll still
Scott,
watch it, but that's a good point. Shelley put perhaps that's a flashback image of Pooh. That's not a bad shout, actually.
So Ryan Olivia is in the suit this time for Winnie the Pooh, and we've got Piglet back in this one. Tigger and Owl are also being introduced as 2 new characters.
Maybe it is a prequel then if Piglet's back in it, because he definitely did.
And I'm just trying to say because I think Ryan Olivia's been in a few films. It was in the TV series Strike Back, if you ever saw that, and it was also featured in Jonathan's Creek and the Seasoning House.
Jonathan Creek was great.
Yeah, he's been in a fair few things for Britain. So he's been in like not going out and things like that, and Rise of the Foot Soldier, and he's been in lots of. Oh, he was in a Slaughterhouse Rules movie. That movie was terrible.
Yeah.
I went into that film with such wanting to see something cool, and it was just so bad.
I think because the trailer made you think it was going to be so much cooler than it was, and I saw Simon Pegg attached, and I was like, "Ooh."
That's what got me. It was like Simon Pegg, and it had Nick Frost together in it with him, and I thought it was going to be a Shaun of the Dead style movie, and I was so wrong. So wrong. And the final piece of news for this evening is that The Nun 2 has topped the box office at 85 million worldwide on its opening night.
Wow. Okay.
People were desperate for a bit more of the Conjuring franchise. Are you going to go see it?
I'm going to try. I've got a lot on. Weirdly, I've got a few retro showings already booked in, but I'm going to try and see it because, although weirdly, I have to confess, I haven't seen the first Nun film, but I don't feel like it's the kind of film that I'm going to have to have seen the first one.
The Nun 1 and the Nun 2 don't give you any information about the nun anyway. It's just the nun killing people in a random place.
That's what I kind of suspected it would be. So I didn't feel like I had to try and cram
There's a
in watching
tiny
the
bit
first
of-
one.
Yeah, there's a tiny bit of story continuation between the two movies with certain characters, but you don't necessarily, because it tells you and it gives you enough backstory during the beginning
Yeah.
part of the second film that you don't really need to see the first one to understand it. The only thing that was in this film, it does kind of lead you to where I think we're going to be going, and there is a post-credit scene that you do have to check out, which is really cool.
Intriguing.
So, yeah. And it was actually a scene that they filmed for The Devil Made Me Do It, but didn't use. So they're using it because of the writer strikes. They've kind of used this as a post-credit scene for the future to show us what's coming next, which is kind
Intriguing.
of cool. Yeah, because obviously they couldn't bring them back to shoot a post-credit scene because they're all on strike.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well,
So
it
they
makes
have to use
sense to
old
use something they've already got.
Yeah, I thought that was clever.
There was. Are you sure there's no other news? No other toy news of a robot kind?
Oh, you want me to honestly bring up the Robo Frankenstein?
I do, because it's exciting for me.
Okay, so Universal Monsters with a Transformers have announced the second in their reimagining of the Universal Monsters Transformers line. I don't know how else you would call it. And yeah, let me show you the image because Ryan's going to get really excited. So Frankentron is what they've got, is the name they've gone with.
Terrible name, but awesome
Terrible name.
bot.
But to be fair, I will probably get it because I do have the Dracula one, and I will probably get this to go with that one.
Yeah, I've got the Dracula one up there somewhere. I do like it. Like, it's a good mold and it looks good. And they've gone for like the design choice on it as well, which like it looks a bit put together. Interesting. There is actually a G1 Transformers episode where they do like a Frankenstein type thing. Was that some people were like, oh, they should have gone for that? It's like, yeah, but the whole point is it's meant to be Frankenstein's monster. Like, it's meant to be the creature. I think it's a really good shout, and I'm really excited. Like, I thought it was going to be a one-off, the Dracula one, so this really came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And now I can just think of the possibilities for other ones. Because there's already a Transformer that turns into like a wolf, so I'm thinking like that's got to be Wolfman, and like there's a lot you could do, a lot.
I definitely
this
think
is a cool bot.
I definitely think they'll do more of them. I can imagine this becoming like I think they'll probably release the Dracula one, see how it went, realize that it sold pretty well. Because it even appeared in Smith's for a while. And this one will come out in October time. They'll see how it sells. And then it might be every year they add a new one to the line. Because it won't cost them a massive amount to do it once a year. Like every October, drop a new bot based on a monster.
I think it's for $32.99 in England. I think this one.
Probably about that.
So, which isn't too bad actually. Like, I've paid a lot more for a lot less.
Zavi's got it for $34.99. So yeah, probably about 32. So probably about $32.99 is probably about right. Zavi will charge a little bit extra. That's what they do. But yeah, no, it looks good, and it does obviously transform into like a little tank as well, which is kind of cool.
If they did one like an Invisible Man one, which was an empty box, that'd be hilarious.
I have done that gag every time I've reviewed an Invisible Man. I've taken it out of the box before I reviewed it. I've done that every time.
You can't not really.
And then you do the whole make crumply noises in the background and go, "It's such a good figure." Like, just hold up nothing. It's so loud.
Don't adjust your YouTube settings.
If you go back, I even did it for a John Cena review. I took it out of the box. I'm reviewing the new John Cena. It's so cool. You can't see him.
Again, I'm surprised I haven't done that gag yet.
But yeah, so yeah, that was the Transformers news. Ryan was very excited and wanted me to talk about it. So there you go, Ryan.
Thank you.
So the Nun 2, I went to see it the other night. It was okay. Like I said, it led us where I think we needed to go with the franchise, and I definitely think Ed and Lorraine will be in a future installment with the Nun. I don't think the Nun's dead just yet. Let's put it that way.
Okay. I'm glad they didn't call it the Nun 2 Electric Boogaloo. That was a good thing.
That may have livened it up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I haven't seen the first one. I wasn't in a rush to see the first one, which is why I haven't seen it yet. Because like, I've seen all the other Conjuring franchise movies, but The Nun was probably the one I was least excited for, and I think I just never got around to seeing it. So I think I've also been waiting for like a Conjuring a decent box set, which there is one now where it's like got 7 of the films in. So yeah, I am interested to see it. I will go see it probably.
The timeline's so convoluted now; they've messed it up a little bit. Like the ghost, is it La Llorona, Ya Llorona, the Mexican one? That's even James Wan has gone. We're removing that one. That's not mine. He's thrown that to one side.
Yeah, and I think it's still available in the some of the box sets have already been released. So it's like it's a very mixed message, and that box set's not that old.
I think we discussed this on another episode, but basically that was meant to be just a Easter egg that Annabelle was in it. It was meant to be just an Easter egg because James Wan is friends with the director. So it was a case of he just put Annabelle in there as a gag. And then they featured a priest character who happened to be in Annabelle. And everyone around the world went, oh my God, it's a part of the Conjuring franchise. And then that was it then. But they have removed it now officially from the timeline on all the things and said, no, it don't exist. But when the thing goes to TV, La Llorona will not be returning.
Interesting.
But to be fair, you only really need to see Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2, Annabelle Comes Home, and then The Devil Made Me Do It. They're the 4 main films.
Yeah.
Because the Devil Made Me Do It's okay, but the Annabelle Comes Home, for me, it ties into the first and second movie because it's about the daughter of the Warrens and stuff, and it's set in their house. So it kind of fits within the Conjuring world for me. But the others are just so random movies. Like, even the Annabelle prequels are a bit naff.
Yeah, they're okay. Like, you know, they're good fun to just stick on in the background while you're doing stuff. Like, but they're not ones I'd probably sit down and watch. I did think of another trailer. Sorry, that's why I was quickly looking at my phone that we haven't discussed because I would count it in this category because I think Monsters still counts in the world of horror, personally. Mm-hmm. And that is the Monarch TV trailer.
Oh yeah, I saw that this week. That looks cool.
Can you do the old computer thing?
Do you want me to show it?
Let's do it. Let's show it, and then we can move on to zombies.
Okay.
The people need to see it. The people being everyone watching.
Do you know think it's really weird at the minute? Because obviously we've got Monarch, Legacy of Monsters coming out, but we've also got Godzilla -1 coming out.
Yeah, that's part of the what's it called?
Because this one that we're about to watch is in keeping with the whole Kong versus Godzilla thing, isn't it? This is all part of that. Whereas the new one that's coming out, the -1, is the original Godzilla Toho kind of thing, isn't it?
Toho, that's it. I was trying to look it up. Toho, yeah. So Toho Studios, which has got like the longest list of Godzilla films. One of the biggest franchises there. So but that looks really decent, actually, -1. I watched the trailer for that as well. But Monarch is particularly... Shelley, we spoke of that on the Geek Week in Review, but you wasn't there, Ryan, because I'm not part of that show anymore. That's why I wasn't there. It should not be a mystery to you.
But one thing we didn't do on the Geek Week in Review is watch the trailer because we don't do that over there. So let's do this!
Yeah! Clever bit of casting. They've got Kurt Russell and they've got Wyatt Russell, his son, playing the younger version of him, which is really smart.
I can't go back in time and fix all the mistakes I made. But maybe I could leave something for the future.
John Goodman.
A legacy.
I'm going for the John Goodman bit.
The world is on fire. I decided to do something about it. Hopes, dreams, ambitions. The mission was to protect their world and ours. That's what we wanted Monarch to be. Instead of chasing monsters. If you come with me, you'll know everything, I promise.
It's got a big budget. I'm really excited about it. I only found out it was even a thing recently. When I saw like a teaser poster, I think, for the series, and that was only like a month ago. I totally had skipped out on, like, even though I love that franchise, I had somehow completely missed that it was going to be anything at all. But yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's completely come out of nowhere, this thing, and I don't know where it fits in the franchise timeline. I don't know where this is meant to be. Is it set after Godzilla and Kong or before, or I don't know.
I think both. I think that's why they've got Wyatt Russell as like the young Kurt Russell. I think it's bookend, so it's going to be like scenes with Kurt Russell when he's older is going to be sort of after maybe Kong Skull Island, not Kong Skull Island, Godzilla versus Kong, because of the sort of the way the world is, and he says about the world being on fire, and then I think that's when they'll have to talk about Monarch, and then that's will be the flashback bits. Is my guess.
Yeah, I've just had a quick Google. So, based on Godzilla by Toho Company, produced by Legendary Television, it's the 6th installment and the 2nd television series in the MonsterVerse franchise. Following members of the organization Monarch as they encounter Godzilla and other titans that span over half a century. So,
It's gonna be
it's a hell of
exciting,
a timeline. There's gonna be a bit of time jumping. But yeah. It says 2nd TV series in the franchise. What other TV series did they do? I feel like I've missed a lot.
Oh, don't you worry, there's plenty to come.
So the film so far, we've got Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of Monsters, Godzilla vs. Kong, and then Godzilla X Kong The New Empire is all part of the franchise.
Yep, and I've seen that teaser trailer, and I'm very excited about that because I love my giant monsters.
Me too. So yeah, and television.
He's got like some. MCAT's got like some insider knowledge by the looks of it, given his way to. Oh, don't you worry, there's plenty to come. I kind of feel like he knows something.
But yeah, Skull Island. Skull Island, the TV series on Netflix is the other one, by the way. The other TV series.
I didn't know there was a TV series of it.
Yeah, it's a cartoon over on Netflix.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out now.
I didn't realize that was. Yeah, I didn't realize that was actually canon. I assumed that was just a kids thing on Netflix, so I left it alone.
But they said that
it's all
about
part of the
Jurassic
MonsterVerse.
Camp Cretaceous, and yeah, that turned out to be amazing.
Yeah, it did. I enjoyed that one. But yeah, MCAT. Yeah, that's a good comment there, brother. I want to know what you're saying. I want to know what you're saying there. Yeah, so this episode was we've rattled on for ages, but this episode was meant to be the zombie special. So same as what we did last week, if we each run through sort of our favorite zombie movies and try and pitch it to the other, but like 9 times out of 10 we usually end up agreeing because we like the same films.
Well, I think if I go first, because I think we all know what I'm going to pitch. Flight of the Living Dead.
Yeah, I knew that one was coming.
Flight of the Living Dead, right? I defend this film a lot because it is a budget. It is cashing in on the of the Living Dead name. However, it's actually a really good, fun zombie film. And it's zombies in a confined space where you can't go anywhere. You're stuck in the air. Like it's got some very cheesy effects, but it's actually it's a great fun film. I would highly recommend it. I mean, it's zombies on a plane, and there's no Samuel L. Jackson, sadly. But I would recommend Flight of the Living Dead. I think you can get it for like a couple of quid now on DVD. It's a great fun watch.
I've got the DVD. I bought that when it first came out. I remember that thing.
Yeah,
it's a good movie. I can't lie. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's zombies on a plane. It's zombies on a plane. What more do you want?
Zombies on a train. Oh wait, no, there is one of them.
I think there is one of them actually, isn't there?
Yeah, that's actually on my list of ones I'm going to bring up later. So forget that comment, everyone. You didn't hear me say that. That's all.
Well, my favorite zombie film, probably of all time, to be honest, is Dawn of the Dead, but the remake. I do like the remake.
Bloody good film. Bloody good film.
It was one of the few because it does have elements of the original film in it, but it's more of a reimagining than anything. And it kind of were its own thing, even though it was based on the Dawn of the Dead movie.
Yeah, agreed. It's not I wouldn't say it's a cash grab one. Like it's a genuinely made with love.
Yeah, because there were a couple at the time, weren't there? Like back in the early 2000s, there was a thing of remaking. Like The Omen came out, that Random Access The Beginning, and all these weird remakes, reimagines sort of started popping up, and this was one of them. But this was one of the better ones.
Yeah, great, and it worked, and it had a strong cast as well. Very strong cast. Yeah, that is no, I need to rewatch that. Very. My next one's gonna be Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah.
Because it's a comedy, but it also answers the question: what do normal people do in a zombie situation? Not like chiseled heroes or ex-cops and all that kind of thing. What do just the guy who works in the electronics store down the road, or the guy who doesn't have a job and just goes to the pub and gets mashed every weekend? What do they do in a zombie apocalypse? Throw vinyl records. You use what's at hand. Batman soundtrack. Chuck it.
What you do is you go to the Winchester and wait for
Wait
the
for the
whole thing to
blow
blow.
over.
I love that. I love it so much.
Maybe that's how we should sign off the show in future. We're going to the Winchester and wait for the whole thing to blow over.
Yes, that would be a cool way to end everyone. Okay then, so my next one, not that old of a film, it only came out a couple of years ago, but I really enjoyed Army of the Dead.
Yeah, do you know what? I only just watched
one?
Army of Thieves. I watched the prequel the other day, which has in the background zombies, but yeah, Army of the Dead.
I enjoyed that movie because I really thought they could have gone somewhere with that, and then they seemed to halfway through the film they seemed to chicken out of the whole thing. There was that whole bit of like the first born zombie out of that weird woman. She was like the Banshee zombie and the Queen zombie. They could have done so much more with that storyline.
Yeah, I think they probably. It reeks of studio interference. I would argue.
Does. But yeah, imagine if they'd have like continued that whole storyline of like, because there was really hinting towards that she was pregnant and that then she gave birth to like this first-born zombie rather than infected zombie, and that could have been a really cool monster going forward. It's a bit like when Underworld made the first vampire crossover werewolfy thing. It could have been something like that, and they could have done something cool with that.
We have got a sequel and a TV series in the works. What I didn't know, it's a spiritual sequel or successor to Land of the Dead.
Yeah.
Which I had no idea until I was looking at the film while watching Army of Thieves. But yeah, so we have got, I think it's Planet of the Dead. I think it's called the next one.
Cool.
Might be wrong. But yeah, so that's going to be really exciting. Right. Like, see where that goes. Especially because I think with the unexpected hit of it, I think it'd be cool to see what they expand on it, and they'll probably have a bit more free reign once they have a hit. My next one will be. I want to say 28 Days Later, but there's always that argument whether it counts as a zombie film or not. And I kind of think it does. It's a different kind of zombie, but 28 Days / Weeks Later, two very, very good films. The sequel's been in development hell. Do you know what? When I was in college, I actually wrote for my student project. I actually wrote a series called 27 Days, and it was set from like someone at the lab, and it was them surviving the 27 days. And basically, they end up in the church where Cillian Murphy goes.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. But yeah, I absolutely loved that. I used to watch it religiously. Again, the first one's made on a shoestring budget, but it's so effective.
And it was that scene for me where that very beginning bit where he's walking through London, it's empty.
I think they had, if I remember correctly, they had to do it like at something like stupid, like 4 a.m. They were allowed the smallest of windows to film it. There was loads of restrictions to it, but I think it was like a one take. We only have enough time for one take of this. It's cost everything. But like those shots are so effective and they stay with people.
Yeah. Do you know what I think? If Danny Boyle is smart, he'll wait, he'll bide his time, and then in the year 2030, he will give us 28 years later.
Yeah, but he can do 28 months later in between that.
I suppose. But I can just imagine, like, because imagine that, because the original one came out in 2002. If he actually makes it on the anniversary of it, 28 years later, and it's actually set 28 years later. I know it makes me feel old, but that would be so cool.
I didn't realize that it actually would be not that far away to be 28 years. Like that's depressed me a little bit, actually.
Well, I'll bring you back to your childhood because my next choice isn't really a horror film, but this film, because when it came out, it actually scared the bejesus out of me, which is weird. But Scooby-Doo, Zombie Island.
Oh my God, yes. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my absolute every Halloween watches. Because it's terror time again.
It's that part where the zombies first come out of the later, like the swamp.
Yes.
And it was the way they drew it. It was like it was not made for kids. I just remember I remember seeing it as a kid and just going, "Oh my god, what is this?" Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, like it's
What's going
like
on?
they're really like decrepit and mangled,
Mm-hmm.
and even the way that the werecats transform and everything like that. But like, it's a bloody good film. It made me want to just eat chilies weirdly, which is a terrible idea. But you know, I absolutely adore that film. They did a sequel called Return to Zombie Island. I
Yeah.
haven't seen it
It's
because
not
I
as
know.
good.
Yeah, I think that Zombie Island was such a unique Scooby-Doo film. Like I thought it was brilliant. And like I said, the soundtrack, Terror Time Again, is like the main song from it. I'm here for it. I'll watch it. I agree with you. I'll defend that one to the day I die. My next choice is actually a kind of a bit of a mix. So it's the first 3 Resident Evils of the old franchise and the Welcome to Raccoon City in one sort of mixed pot. Because the Resident Evil franchise is one that is a guilty pleasure. I'll watch all of them, but you know, after 3 or even really after 2, they sort of get really stupid, and the lack of continuity angers me to no point, like to no end, like to the point where they don't even try and explain it with dialogue off screen. Like you know, they don't. It's just someone's just not there anymore. And it's like, where's Keith from accounting? You know, but like the first 2 definitely of the Mila Jovovich ones I still defend them. I think they're still 2 solidly good films. Cheesy at some points, absolutely, but there's some great moments in it. The first one being Trapped in the Facility, and then Welcome to Raccoon City, which had a pitiful cinema release in the UK.
Yeah.
Even though I had a limitless pass, I had to go to a Cineworld all the way in Braintree just to go see it, and it was only showing it once a day for a week. It was so annoying because they were like, "Oh, it hasn't done very well." I was like, "We haven't shown it anywhere, so of course it hasn't done well, idiot." But it's a really, really good film. It's quite close to some of the source material like Raccoon City, but yeah, I mean the series was a bit meh. But like the Welcome to Raccoon City, awesome film.
Okay, my final film of the evening, Zombieland.
Yeah,
I know it's a comedy. I know it's a comedy, but I love the fact that they just made something new with the zombie kind of thing, and like I like the whole rules part of it.
Yeah, I would agree. Like it's one of the only films I actually quite like Jesse Eisenberg in because I can't stand Jesse Eisenberg. I think he's a rude, egotistical, words I can't say on YouTube because I'll get a message from Andy and YouTube. But I really don't like him. However, in Zombieland, perfect casting. Like he's brilliant in it. Like the zombie killer of the week, the rules, Woody Harrelson's like sort of back and forth, Bill Murray. Do you have any regrets? Garfield, baby.
It's such a good movie.
Fantastic choice.
And Emma Stone's perfect impersonation of Janine as well. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
They're everywhere. Get them! Sorry, I just love that bit. It makes me laugh so much.
My final zombie film of choice is the original Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Because I think we can't talk about zombie films and do favorite zombie films, something like that. They recently did Night of the Animated Living Dead or Night of the Living Dead animated exclusive HBO. I've got it. I haven't watched it yet. Got it for £6. I heard it's okay, but the original though, it's just something that is very dear to my heart because it's one of the very first zombie films I ever saw. Again, it was a taped off TV recording onto VHS. We had to program the old VCR. It was like somewhat half an episode of Coronation Street and then go straight into the film, as it were. It's standard. But I remember watching it and just like because when you're a kid, like the concept of the undead doesn't really enter your mind. But like that was I find it really scary. I think because also it was normal people in the house. Again, like I said that earlier, something scary about the fact that it's everyday people rather than big action heroes.
Yeah.
And if you like the sequel, Return of the Living Dead is actually coming back to cinemas very shortly. It's going to be at the Odeon in the next couple of weeks. or maybe a bit longer. It might be in beginning of October. But yeah, so check your local Odeon if you do want to go and see Return of the Living Dead, the original. That is coming back to cinemas.
Yeah, Night of the Living Dead as well had that really controversial ending as well for its time. For its time, obviously now you wouldn't even see it, but back then, for the time, obviously it's the black gentleman that survives all the way through the film just to get shot in the head by the other people coming through, kind of thing. It's there's some deep meaning there somewhere.
Yep. And obviously it's got the great line, they're coming to get you, Barbara.
Yes.
Which is a great line. Like, it's just the way it's acted. You know, it's up there. Even though it's like a great movie, it's in the same levels of like, they're eating her and then they're going to eat me. Oh my God. Like, it's that kind of, the lines that people just quote from even films they haven't seen. That's up there.
It is. Oh my God. Some great films there. I need to go watch some now.
I know. This is the problem. Whenever we do this, my watch list or rewatch list goes up to astronomical levels, like stupid amounts, because I've already got I've been writing them down on my phone. I've got like 10 films lined up.
Me, when it comes to films as well, sometimes it's the soundtracks. So as soon as you mentioned Resident Evil, instantly my brain just jumped to Slipknot's My Plague. I'm like, that was the song. I remember.
Mate, here's a funny story about film soundtracks, and it's relevant to what we're talking about. 28 Days Later has that famous piece of music, In the House in a Heartbeat.
Yeah.
Starts off slow, and then it really drops in. So, in Chelmsford, many years ago, when I was a younger gentleman and used to frequent the clubs of the night, I was walking home, and they started doing this thing where they turned the lights off at 1 a.m., like the street lights. So, I was walking home, and I used to listen to film soundtracks. So there's a particular bit called North Ave in Chelmsford where there's roads either side, and there's this bit in the middle which is just grass and just trees down either side. So I always walk down the middle because I thought something happens on either of the roads, I'm already middle of it. It's the way my brain works. I was listening to that soundtrack, right? And the second it was like dun, 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 dun. And the minute, like the absolute second that the proper bit dropped, all the lights went off. And I was just standing, absolutely shitting myself amongst all these dark trees at like 1 a.m, really drunk as well, just being like, I'm gonna die. I am actually gonna die. This is how I die. It's gonna be well orchestrated, but and the soundtrack's gonna be phenomenal, but I am gonna die. Like, it really freaked me out. It was just the timing was just phenomenal.
That face. But I think that kind of rounds us up for another week. And don't worry, because we're back next week.
We are.
To talk more horror. Yeah, baby.
So don't forget. Should we have a little film theme, though, for next week? What do we reckon? I'll tell you what. People comment on the videos. What would you like us? What film things at the end would you like us to talk about? We talked vampires. We talked zombies. It can be anything horror film related, film, TV, or whatever. Chuck it in there. You decide, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and if you're watching this back after the fact and you're doing this, you're watching it back, then please do comment in the comment down below, and we'll see what people come up with. We'll choose one of them, and we'll talk about that next week. I'm just double checking that I'm saving all the comments on the YouTube thing right now, and yes, we are. So I'll be able to see those later because I forgot to do that.
On the YouTube, it made you sound really old, as if like, oh, just save in the comments on the old YouTube.
On the YouTubes.
On the video.
Alex, you've got to click a button that says save the chat replay. Otherwise, it doesn't save it, and it's really annoying. I wish that were just a standard feature, and it's irritating. There we go. We are saving the chat. Thank God. So I'll be able to go back and have a look at it.
You're saved, chat. Well done.
Chat, you're saved for future. Right. But yeah, we'll be back. And you know what? I hope someone says Stephen King, because I would love a Stephen King chat. Secret window. No secret window. Right. Guys, thank you very much for watching. We've been talking for an hour and 45 minutes. We need to go.
Oh my God.
But guys, thank you very much for watching. As always, I'm your host, Super Sorrel. That's Ryan Speaks Geek. And we'll see you next week. Keep it creepy.
Keep it real.
Keep it real. I don't know which is worse. Keep it creepy or creepy real.
Bye.
Bye.